So Whitney, it's a great pleasure to have you here in Łódź. Thank you
My pleasure. Thank you.
for coming and visiting us. You've been to quite a few places in Poland before Łódź. How do you like Poland so far?
Oh, very much. This is my second trip, and I've also had the opportunity to work with a fair number of Polish entrepreneurs and academics through the Top 500 program at Berkeley. So I've had a chance to reconnect with those people as well. And it's great to see the growing entrepreneurial community here.
Okay, so let's speak about this community, because that's true that the entrepreneurial community in Łódź is growing. What would be your main advice? What should we do? What should we concentrate on to build a great high-tech cluster here?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think there's any magic formula, but you have one of the key things, which are a lot of really smart, well-educated technical people. So that's often the hardest thing to find. And it sounds like to me that you're putting all the right pieces of infrastructure around that, both in terms of incubator, accelerator opportunities for people to have office and lab space to work together, potentially connecting them to mentor experts, and then bringing in education around how to commercialize research versus just focusing on research for the sake of academic research.
Okay, and speaking about entrepreneurs, if we have many great, fantastic students with great ideas and they are really well educated, they have a lot of energy. If they would like to start some new idea, try making a startup, what would be your advice for them?
Yeah, well, maybe the hardest thing, but also the most essential thing is for them to figure out what the world needs, right? What is the missing pain or gain inside the market they'd like to address, and really explore that before developing the product or service. So traditionally, both in academia and even Silicon Valley, say 20 years ago, we developed a really cool thing in isolation in a laboratory or an office, and then we went out to see if the world would buy it. And the methodology we've been teaching now, both at UC Berkeley and also through the National Science Foundation I-Corps program, is hold off on your product development until you really figure out what it is you're ultimately trying to help the customer with. Once you've assessed that, and we call that product market fit, then bring that back to the laboratory and develop a product that will meet that market. Mm-hmm. So it's a chicken before the egg problem, as we say in English.
And do you think it's important to have a mentor on this way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very hard to do things if you don't see somebody like yourself doing them. And a mentor can bring a few things. In technical areas, they often understand the technology, so it can be a good assessment of if you've got something that's really powerful, unique, robust. But the other thing a mentor has is connections, right? Nothing happens just as the power of one or a small team. People need networks to access money and customers, and ideally scale companies outside of Poland, maybe across Europe, across the world. And a mentor hopefully can make connections for them for that. If a mentor has also been through this process, they have good lessons learned, things not to do, mistakes they've made, that they can coach this next generation around how to avoid doing those.
Let's shift to what brought you here. You're conducting a workshop tomorrow.
Yes.
For researchers from Łódź University and Technology, but also from other universities. And this workshop would be somehow inspired and based on a method which is called I-Corps.
That's right, yeah. So I-Corps is the specific program I teach with the National Science Foundation. And we have a branch at Berkeley where I teach. There's a national program. This is based on Lean Launch, which is Steve Blank's methodology. And basically what it does is it says, look, as I was saying, you want to figure out what the world needs before you necessarily develop it or fully develop it. And we actually take people in a longer program over the course of 8 weeks to interview 100 people who could be in their ecosystem, an investor, a competitor, an economic buyer. Because we feel at 100, you get enough statistical significance of the data to start seeing some patterns. Like a thumbs up, there's an opportunity, or a thumbs down. No, there's not enough of a need or nobody wants to pay for it. So what we'll do tomorrow is a very condensed one-day version, really just focusing more on what's product market fit and what are the next steps the researchers need to do to better assess that through interviews.
So this program sounds really amazing, and I'm also a big fan of it. Do you think that countries like Poland could introduce this program?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The nice part about this program is that it's all open source. It's not deeply technical or academic in what's required to teach it. And it works best if it's organic. So my goal is to help your university and ultimately the larger network here in Poland develop this for themselves. So have your own faculty that can train this program. Because what we're doing is training, but ultimately what we're doing is mindset shift. And that mindset shift is one that's perhaps a little more traditional around developing technology and keeping that very separate from entrepreneurship, to saying, why do academia, big industry, and entrepreneurship have to be three separate silos? There's a lot of synergies, and at least what I've witnessed through the graduates of the Top 500 program, a very big change that's occurring in Poland where people can operate flexibly across all three, which is really rewarding because they're both starting a company, perhaps getting customers and money from big industry, and then taking what they've learned and teaching it back to students. So we can also start that mentorship and next generation coming through.
Basically, if I understand you correctly, you think that iCorps, the main thing about iCorps is about breaking barriers between different sorts of groups?
Absolutely. Yeah, we chatted a little earlier about this. One of the biggest changes for many people going through the program is this idea that I will work in isolation on a concept and then take it to market, versus I need to get out of the lab or the classroom or the office and actually go talk to people. And that's pretty terrifying for many people. If you're an introvert, if you gravitated towards academia and science because you prefer to do that than go out into industry, we're really saying you've got to move beyond your comfort zone. For those that experience this process, it's initially terrifying and then incredibly gratifying because they're getting a new skill set about how to gather intelligence and information. They're not reliant just on research reports and the internet, but the ability to turn any conversation with someone into a learning opportunity. And that's a really big shift for many people.
So basically, if we are to summarize the main ideas and concepts and the main message you would like to share is that, first of all, we need to be active and go outside of the building and start asking questions to people about our idea and see what their need is, and find some mentor that will help us on our way.
Absolutely. Those will do wonders for developing your connection from academic research to commercialization.
Whitney, thank you very much for being here in Łódź.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
And we're looking forward to tomorrow's workshop. And we hope you will come back to Łódź again and have some
Absolutely.
other workshops later.
Thank you.
Thank you.